plaintiff, Claudette Davis, says since she and the defendant have become neighbors, they've had nothing but problems. Claudette is suing because she claims the defendant falsely accused her of pulling a gun on her daughter, and then she jumped her. Defendant Geraldine Rogers says Claudette has been harassing her family for years, and she did pull a gun on Geraldine's daughter, which is why she got a 3-year restraining order against Claudette. She's countersuing for lost wages, defamation, and emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Judge Mathis, I've been knowing Ms. Rogers since the age of 9 years old. She was a neighbor of mine on another street. A few years back, Geraldine moved on my street as an adult, as my neighbor. It's been an ongoing challenge is having her as my neighbor. Most recently, she accused me.
How did it start, though? Tell me the beginning of this. These challenges.
I don't know. It's just that when she first came, we greeted each other as old, knowing each other. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it just kind of fell off. One of the things that I do get upset about is she has a stray cat that stays in my yard, and I'll yell at the cat and say, keep that cat over there, because I have a 5-pound Pomeranian that's hairy, and I don't want the flea eggs and things in my yard. So I'm just saying, keep the cat over there. So I think that angers her some. But what took it to this level?
This is about a cat fight.
No, it's not about a cat fight. No,
it's not cat
no,
fight.
sir, it's not about a cat fight. It's because she accused me of pulling a gun on her 8-year-old daughter, which is very bizarre.
Okay. You tell me.
No, that's not.
Any
that's
problems?
not why this is
when
going on.
When did your problems initially begin?
Just like she said, we've been knowing each other for a while, and I moved over into the neighborhood where she moved over in 2016. When I moved there, we were okay, you know what I'm saying? It started with her getting drunk and wanting to be on her porch, screaming and hollering at 3 o'clock in the morning.
About your cat?
No, we didn't even have a cat.
About what?
We didn't have a cat. I don't know. She would be on her phone, and she would be screaming and hollering, I guess having a conversation as she was drunk, arguing with somebody.
You are lying. First of all, let me tell you something. I drink beer sometimes. 3 o'clock in the morning, my old buddies is asleep. So stop lying. You've been lying through this whole thing, and that's why we here. Because you're a big liar. You was a liar when you was 9 years old. Defamation of character. Lost in wages. You beat me. That's why you went to jail, and what I'm gonna pay you for beating me.
Your Honor.
When I couldn't defend myself, when your coward butt pulled open my car door and you and 2 of your friends jumped a 59-year-old woman.
Well, let me say this, ma'am. So far, you've demonstrated a temperament that could be confrontational.
It started with her cussing out, going off in our neighborhood.
About what?
About whatever issue she was having over the phone with whoever she was on the phone with. Our houses are close. You could literally hear her whole conversation at 3 o'clock in the morning. Not to mention that our neighborhood done told her this as well. She doesn't want to listen. She said she could say what she want to say. She calls us.
Let me stop you there. Have the neighbors complained to you?
No, sir. No, sir. We've never really had any problems. That's why I do not understand the accusation. I promise you, you've had a problem.
The way you just said she beat you and was jailed for it.
And
y'all had a problem.
We did, but I didn't know we had a problem that severe, and I do apologize for my behavior in court. But Your Honor, you do not know. It's been almost a year. I'm still not sleeping over these accusations. I don't know if this young lady is on meth or if she's on some type of ecstasy that makes her create this story that she created.
She don't act like she's hired of me. You act like you hired her.
No, sir. Okay, no, sir.
Oh, that carrying on you did.
I'm sorry.
You flipped out.
I'm angry. It hurts.
Yeah, but a lot of people are angry and they don't flip out like that.
I apologize, Your Honor.
All right. So tell me more about the confrontations. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, on August the 30th, I was sitting in the Shell gas.
Of what year?
Of 2020. I was sitting in the gas station. I am a friend with the owner at the gas station, And I was just sitting there listening to the radio and talking to my mother. And all of a sudden, a young girl came and opened.
Your mother was there, or you were on the phone?
We were on the phone. We were on my cell phone. And all of a sudden, I turned around and somebody was at my door snatching my door open. So at that time, I didn't know who these people were. All I knew was somebody had jumped in from the passenger side and started beating me, and then somebody on the driver's side was beating me. So
why do you believe that happened, the attack?
Sir, it's bizarre. I don't know.
All right.
I don't. That's maybe we can get
and
those
how did
answers
you determine
today.
she was involved?
I actually, if you look at page 1, here's a picture of her leaving the Shell gas station, running across the street after beating me.
Okay.
I did try to get the Shell gas station
Your Honor.
Video.
And obviously, you went to the police, or the police came, and what was the result?
Okay, I actually, I got in my car and I went on home, called the police. So when I called the police, I went downstairs, gave them all the information of what happened and everything. And the officer said, we really hate to do this, but you got 2 TPO order violations against you. So now
You did?
She had taken out fake TPO orders against me.
Oh, both were by her?
I ended up taking out one on her later after they beat me, but yeah, she had taken out a fake TPO order, which caused me to go to the Hamilton County Justice Center for 3 days.
Did you all have a hearing on those?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
When the hearings came, they dismissed it.
Okay. And what do you know of the restraining orders? Let's start there.
Okay, this is what happened, because she's not telling the story right. She has been harassed in our family. Now, the 28th of August was my kid's father's birthday. So my cousin and my ex-boyfriend came over to my house
on August 28th, Jerry.
They came over to our house.
Ooh.
And they were talking to me. She then pulled down our street, which I have statements from the witness that was there that day. She came rolling down the street, mad. I mean, hysterical, because somebody was parked in her handicapped parking spot, which is in front of her house, okay? Which it was my cousin, because she has a handicapped sticker. So she parked there. But before my cousin could move her car, she turns around and tries to hit my cousin.
Oh, girl,
So
you really
my cousin
good.
was like, I'm moving my
Geraldine,
car. You don't have to do all that. I'm moving my car. So then she
Really?
speeds in her driveway. When she speeds in her driveway, she almost hits me, backing up 2 speed in her driveway. She almost hit me. My ex that was standing next to me at the time pushed me out the way so I don't get hit. So at this point, I see where this is going between me and her.
On that day, are you really flabbergasted?
I see where this is going.
Go ahead.
Back in June, I had got a restraining order against her because I had enough.
Why? What happened at that
In
time?
June, she just kept going. She would come to our house, ask my kid's father, where's she at? Well, tell her I want to fight her. Tell her to come on
About what?
outside.
You don't know?
You don't know. I mean, she just going, because she be drunk.
Comes over
She just
and wants
be
to
drunk.
fight. And so that made you go and
So
get
I'm
a
like,
restraining order?
I went and got a restraining order because I'm never there when she doing all this. It'd be my kid's father there because I be at work. So I went and got the restraining order because he has macular degeneration. He cannot see. So I went and got the restraining order. The day I went to get the restraining order and we was in court, she was tearing up my yard. That's why I got the restraining order for 3 years, because I had to tell the judge.
Any evidence of that?
Yes, I have that on page 1.
Ma'am, what do you know about tearing up her yard?
Sir, I ain't tore up her yard. I know you saying that I have hostility. I do, because she's lying and she's good at it.
The court orders respondent be restrained from committing any acts. You have a restraining order against you that the court granted. Victim states that while outside of her home, suspect arrived and began cursing and made verbal threats, acting like you aren't here. Now, you know if you do it in the courtroom. Left location, returned 1 hour later, now holding a firearm, and made verbal threats to her daughter, who is listed as victim 2. Both victims are listed under the protection order.
And
Sir,
I also have a video statement from my 9-year-old who was 8 at the time.
All right, let's see it.
So, when I was outside playing, the old lady walked up on my driveway with a gun in her hand on her side, and she said, "Is your mom home?" I said nothing, and then she said, "Well, I'm going to shoot your mama." And then she was putting her hand up where the gun was, and I ran behind the van. And then the next door neighbor opened the door, and she went in her car and drove off. And then that's when I went inside the house and told my dad.
You have anything from the next door neighbor? You have anything from the next door neighbor, a statement or anything?
No, my neighbors don't want to get involved because they have already been going through it with her, and they don't want to get involved. She has a pattern of doing this. She has a pattern of threatening people and getting away with it. So if you can take a look at her, the evidence I have between page 12 and 14, where you can see where the year before she was charged with a menacing and it got dismissed, and she had menacing on other people that people have gotten
violating
her,
the protection
and she's
order.
been getting dismissed because she got family member that works in the justice system. So she's been getting away with a lot of this. Right now she is fighting a case on a 13-year-old little girl who she just recently pulled a gun out on, who could have been possibly in that photo she's showing you about getting beat up last year. It could have been anybody that beat her up last year. Yes, I was at the gas station where she got beat up at, and I seen them 3 girls run up on her vehicle and beat her up. And yeah, I wanted a piece of it. I ain't gonna lie, I sure did. I sure did. But before I can get me a piece of it, they stopped fighting her. She started trying to run them over with her car. So I never did get a piece of it.
What about all these other allegations? Let's talk about the 3 other people who charged you.
Do you see that I was never convicted?
I understand.
Sir.
Why do you think people just have a habit of charging you?
No, I do have a big mouth, Your Honor. I will agree. I would agree with that. And I will speak back if somebody is bothering me. I live alone.
No, nobody has to bother you, ma'am. I can tell. All right. Now, your counterclaim, ma'am, for defamation, how did she defame you?
I went to jail for 6 months. I lost my job. I was making $280 a week. I lost 24 weeks due to incarceration.
How were you convicted? By jury or a judge?
No,
or
by
what?
the judge. It wasn't no jury trial. It was just a judge. I was convicted because I was at the scene. I didn't have proper alibi. And it was one of them things that because you was there and we can't get them, we gonna get you. So that's how I ended up.
Oh, they didn't get the other 2 ladies?
It was 3 ladies. I don't even know who these 3 ladies was. Like I said, she's going to court for pulling a gun out on a 13-year-old right now. It could have been them for all I know.
Now, with regard to your pain and suffering, and that's for what? The assault against you, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
What's the emotional distress for?
Okay, I was actually hospitalized while I was in the Justice Center due to my heart condition and my health conditions, and this is just really taking me over the edge. Like I said, a year later, I'm still not sleeping. And it just don't feel like it's fair.
Well, ma'am, all I see is mutual hostility, mutual aggression. Your claim is dismissed, and so is yours. Have a good day, you ladies. Go home and work it out. Bye.
We know working it out. You're going to end up getting shot. You better quit pulling your gun out on people because somebody going to shoot you.
I couldn't beat you in court.
I
couldn't beat you in court, sweetie.
You too old.
You know what?
Grow up.
You know you
Stop
lying.
using that gun for every little issue.
You know you lying, baby.
Stop
You
using
had
that gun
your
for every
child,
little
you
issue.
stooped that low.